Find all our courses at MeanThat.com. Let's assume that you all of a sudden got few $1 million and now you have decided to become an investor. So let's say that this is you and you are becoming what we call an investor. And of course, as we have mentioned, as an investor, you have a lot of cash that you would like to invest, and in return for that, maybe in few years you would like to receive back even more cash out of dividends. And so you decide that you will set up, let's say, 3 companies. So this will be the first company that you will set up. Then this is going to be second company that you are going to set up, and then the third one. And of course, you cannot be everywhere, day has only 24 hours, so you decide that you are going to hire some managers. So these guys over here are going to be what we call a managers. So you are going to hire a managers. And what do they have? Why are you hiring them? Is because they have the managerial skills. They have the skills to manage these companies. Now, what happens when this situation occurs that you are setting up some companies and you are sort of hiring managers and giving them responsibility for your money, basically? Well, the problem that arises is what we call an agency problem, and that is what we are going to talk about in this video. So we have a whole agency theory perspective, or you can remember agency theory, that is telling us about exactly this particular phenomena. So let's see. An agency problem is a problem in determining managerial accountability that arises when delegating authority to managers. So I always like to encourage to remember the noun. So an agency problem is simply a problem. So remember always the noun. And now it arises when we are delegating authority to managers. That's exactly what we are doing here right now. We just invest the money into some company and then we expect them to behave in ethical way and bring us profits. So we are delegating authority. Delegating authority. Now, this problem essentially consists of 3 different parts. So let's write it down. It's necessary to remember them. So we have a first one. Well, when you imagine these 3 companies, they are all going to be in different fields. So let's say that this is going to be pharmaceuticals. So pharmaceuticals. Then secondly, I'm going to have bakery. And thirdly, I am going to design some software. You see, all these 3 companies are in very different fields, and I, as a single investor, cannot be expert in all of them. They are the experts. That's why I'm hiring them. They have the managerial skills to operate in these environments. So first part of this problem is because of what we call informational disadvantage. Informational disadvantage. Because when you imagine, not only they have the necessary skills to operate in that environment, and they will know things better than we do because we are just investors, but they are as well going to be in everyday contact with the company, in everyday contact with the industry. I am not. I can just rely on their honesty that the information that they are giving me are really trustworthy. So that is the first problem when it comes to the agency theory or delegating authority to managers. Then secondly, we are going to have something that we call a time aspect. And this is again very intuitive and very logical. So imagine that I have my managers who have just joined the company. So this is 1 manager, second and third. And let's imagine that I was quite lucky and I hired 2 managers which are really good. So this is a good manager, this is a good manager, and this is a good manager. but I will be unable to find out which of them is good immediately. I will be able to evaluate their performance maybe 1 year later. So maybe 1 year later I will be able to say who of them is good and who is bad. So I, as an investor, do not have immediate information which I would like to have. But then it comes to the third part, and this is a very important, and that is differing goals, or different goals. Now imagine that we have been, as three guys, we have been hired by this investor. Now we of course we would like to show off. All three of us would like to become a CEO of this bakery. So we are going to have some sort of a short-term goals. So short-term goals. So that in few months we would like to have a great bakery and really show the results to the investors. Now on the other hand, investor might have a little bit long-term perspective. So long-term goals. And that may be, let's say, he would like to have a profitable company for next 20 years. And that is a lot different from the short-term goals of managers. Now, of course, the goals can differ much more, so that, let's say, our managers would like to behave a lot responsible. So let's say they would like to have some social responsibility. But on the other hand, investor may not be so socially responsible, but he would like to have only the cash. So that was the agency theory perspective, where we have an investor who we call a principal, and this principal is hiring some managers who we call agents. And now this problem arises when we are delegating authority to these agents or managers, and that basically consists of three parts: informational disadvantage, time aspect, and then finally different goals.